Hello everyone, my name is Castro, and today I will be talking about my lucid chart and the factors of vulnerable population, and I will also be discussing the interrelationships between them. So I will begin by further explaining what a vulnerable population is. So according to Stanhope and Lancaster 2014, a vulnerable population is a group of individuals who have a higher risk of developing adverse health outcomes. As you can see in the purple bubbles, I have listed 8 different risk factors that could be considered vulnerable population. So what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is defined as a susceptibility to an actual potential stressors that may lead to an adverse effect. So according to the World Health Organization, they mention that the individuals are unable to control many of the determinants of health directly. Therefore, it is inappropriate to blame individuals for having poor hygiene or credit them for good health good health or health gene. So the first group I will be talking about is the homeless population. So the homeless population is a high risk considering the lack of access, of healthcare access, the lack of shelter, mental illness, and environmental elements that are frequently associated with alcohol and drug abuse. Therefore, my second risk factor that I will be mentioning will be addiction and violence. Addiction and violence are related to vulnerability in consideration of ineffective coping. Criminal behavior that can lead to violence due to the effects of the drugs or alcohol abuse. It also causes a low self-esteem and sometimes leads to poverty. This vulnerable population is also related to homeless and mental illness. So my third risk factor that I will be mentioning will be the mental illness. So mental illness becomes vulnerable due to the lack of resources. They have also susceptible to substance abuse and infectious diseases. This vulnerable population leads to poor impulse and is related to homeless, addiction, violence, and poverty. So my fourth one, poverty, is considered vulnerable for similar reasons as a homeless, including the lack of resources, low levels of education, and the lack of healthcare access. So additionally, poverty population is predisposed to the chronic diseases. As mentioned before, this poverty community is related to all the above risk factors, including infectious diseases and the rural and migrant health. So infectious diseases, it will be my sixth risk factor that I will be mentioning. So the infectious disease is considered a vulnerable population due to the poverty, minority group, and lack of hygiene that are caused by specific mental treatment, individuals who inject drugs, and individuals who are imprisoned. This vulnerable population is often associated with mental illnesses, addiction, violence, homeless. Moreover, this population is predisposed to infect others, therefore making them a vulnerable population. So the seventh and eighth risk factors for this presentation will be the rural and the migrant health. These individuals are individuals that live in farmland or even rural areas that are far away from the city. So this community is considered vulnerable due to the language barrier, low socioeconomic, the inadequate housing, and the lack of healthcare resources that leads to toxic exposures and sanitation issues. So according to the Rural and Health Information Hub 2017, they mentioned that rural minority population often experience a health disparity related to their health status, including chronic illnesses, geographic isolations, higher rates of health risk behaviors, and limited job opportunities. So, overall, I have noticed that these 8 risk factors are related to one another, um, and they all make the vulnerable population. Um, so, for instance, one risk factor can be related to multiple risk factors. Like for instance, the mental illness population can lead to homeless. Therefore, due to the substance abuse, um, that can lead to violence, and as well as in infectious diseases. So I hope you enjoy my presentation. There's also my reference that I have obtained, and have a good day. Thank you.